Joining me now is a Bellator middleweight contender who takes on the champion Rafael Carvalho for the middleweight title in the Bellator 200 co-main event on May 25th in London, England. It is the one, the only Gegard Mousasi here on the program for the very first time. Gegard, how are you?
I'm good, sir. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. So firstly, let's just sort of talk about this Bellator title fight a little bit. It's finally upon us in just under 2 weeks. Do you feel like it's a little overdue, that maybe you should have fought for the title a bit sooner? I know this is only your second fight, but you're a big name. You were a top talent in the UFC. Considering you signed with them last July, would you have predicted to fight for the title a bit sooner than you are now?
No. When I signed the contract, I knew Alessio would get the first title shot because it was promised to him, so I had to take another fight. And I knew I had to take one fight before that.
Okay. And just as far as the layoff, again, I guess there's nothing you can do about the eye injury, and that's the only reason you haven't fought since October, correct?
Yeah, but I'm cleared by the doctors, by the commission, so I'm ready to go. And it was I had to heal up, of course, but I'm good again, so I can fight again.
How long did the actual recovery take, and for how long have you been fully recovered?
Well, it's usually if I had taken the operation, it would have taken 6 months, but it's also 6 months since my last fight, so it didn't make any difference. But I had to give the eye time to recover. So that's what we did, and it was the first option to fight because I had to get approved by the commission again and by my doctors. So it took some time.
Is this basically the earliest you could fight? Could you have fought in April if you wanted to, or they offered it, or even then was it not quite ready? Is late May sort of the earliest you could?
I think the timing was good. I could have fought here or LA. That was two options for me. Bellator decided to let the fight in London, so no, it just time, It took a couple months before the eye was better, and then to make the fight happening and get through the commission, it took some time. So I think it was good. I needed the time to recover. If I would have, I should have. Then I would have rushed it, and some injuries, it's trauma. So even if you healed up, if you think about it, it's gonna affect the way you're gonna fight. If you think, "Oh, I'm injured," you might fight very differently. So I think it was good to take the time.
You, of course, defeated Alexander Shlemenko in your Bellator debut last October. That is the fight in which you suffered the broken orbital bone. A lot of fans were a little critical of that. It was a decision win. It was rather close. A lot of people expected a 100% one-sided performance or maybe a stoppage. But you weren't, holding back against those fans. You were sort of going back against them, saying, they don't really have the right to, criticize you because of the eye injury. Do you think those fans that weren't so happy with that win have sort of realized that, hey, maybe we should take it easy on Gegard, or do you just not care?
Well, I don't know who the fans are, There may be 12-year-old eating potatoes and maybe 50-year-old, I don't know who they are.
Sure.
They can have their opinion, but they're not athletes. They never trained in their life. So, they never fought. So, how serious can you take someone that knows nothing about fighting? They just watch it, but watching doesn't make you an expert. So, and of course, like I said, Shlemenko is no joke. And, I don't know what to say, people have their opinion, but I know how the judges score. I know the point system. It was 2-1, 2 rounds for me, 1 round to him. And, I don't know. Like I said it before, you can... let's say if you swim for 10 miles, you can swim. But when there's a shark behind you and you're injured, and then go swim 10 miles, it's not possible. It's different. So people don't understand that, they never fought, let alone fought with one eye, So what can I say? And their opinion is sometimes,
You just
not,
can't let it bother you. You can't let it bother you.
No. It's not very, there's not a lot of facts behind their opinion, let's say. It's just...
Sure. So you've been with Bellator for 10 months now. You, of course, signed the dotted line back in July of last year. Have you been happy? You've had the one fight. Of course, maybe you would have had a second one already had it not been for the eye injury. Have you been happy with Bellator? Overall, have they been treating you well?
Yeah, 100%. I met Scott when he was in Holland. Like I said, there's a more closer bond the UFC than UFC. I'm part of Bellator, I feel like, so, yeah, 100% I feel good. Nothing to complain. Nothing.
Do you feel like Bellator cares about you and appreciates you a bit more? Maybe because their roster's a bit smaller. Maybe because they don't have quite the talent level. It's getting closer, but maybe the UFC still has slightly more fighters and all of that. Do you feel like Bellator appreciates you more?
100%. I think, I know Scott from Strikeforce, and he has a mixed martial arts background himself. So he said he has seen how the K1 fighters were treated in Japan, and he has a little bit the same philosophy. And so I can say enough good things about Scott. And so yeah, I feel like I've been treated very well. But on the other hand, I haven't been treated bad in UFC either. But sometimes things get said like, oh, you're scared to fight this guy and stuff like that. But I haven't had that with Bellator, you know what I mean? But other than that, yeah, good. Very good.
So you're not upset with the UFC or anything. If the Bellator contract expires, you finish it, you have a few more fights, and UFC gives you a great offer, you would be willing to go back? Not saying that'll happen. Not saying it'll happen,
No, but after 5 fights, it's going to take 2-3 years. I'm going to be a little bit older. And, I was thinking for retirement, to be honest, after 5 fights. So don't have UFC in my mind at all.
Okay.
And, or contract extension. But
right.
If it would happen and Bellator would want to sign me again, I probably would sign with Bellator, yeah.
And so you have 5 fights left on your Bellator deal. You signed a 6-fight contract and did, 1 fight, of course. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you would like 5 more fights, and, wherever that takes you, it takes you, and then after that, you move on?
Because it all depends on my... Listen, that fight, people don't understand. After that fight, I was in the hospital. The way people don't see those parts, and maybe there was a confusion of what happened to my eyes. I thought I'd lost my eye or whatever.
Right.
So people see those parts. It took a lot out of me, that fight. But let's say if I win the next 5 fights, yeah, you're not gonna think about the retirement. So it's too soon to say it. But I'm not looking past these 5 fights. I'm thinking I want to finish them all with victories, put a name, make a legacy, and then, see how go from there. But then I have more than almost 60 fights, It's, but I didn't have a lot of damage, so if I want, I can easily continue. But like I said, the last fight, I took some injury.
Yeah, that's interesting because, of course, in the Shlemenko fight, you talked about how that injury took a lot out of you. You were in the hospital afterwards. Do you think it was that fight that made you start thinking about retirement a bit more and thinking, hey, I can do other things and not get beat up in the face, not, lose my eye potentially, all of that? That's something that you were concerned about. Do you think it was that fight that really started to make you think about that?
No. Fighting is always a risky business. It's not the easiest way to make money. So yeah, it's you have to think about your health. You don't want to have brain damage and all that stuff. So everything matters. Yeah, but that fight, I don't know. It made me stop for a while. Yeah, a little bit, maybe. But like I said, maybe 2-3 victories. whole different attitude of what I'm gonna do next. But so for now, I'm sharp and I'm just thinking about winning this fight. I'm taking fight by fight. I'm in my prime. You have to understand that I feel like I'm in my prime. I'm not slowing down. I'm not getting beat up. I'm not losing. I'm not getting knocked out, whatever. So I'm in my prime. And I should be able to continue as much as I want, to be honest.
Does this title fight against Rafael Carvalho feel bigger than if you were fighting for the UFC middleweight belt? Does it feel the same? Does it feel smaller? Does it, or where does it rank as if you never fought for the UFC middleweight title, but had you, what would be bigger?
For me, I'm excited. Last week I was so happy because I was thinking I would go and win the belt. So for me, it's my goal to get this belt. So no, it doesn't actually didn't make any matter. I think this belt only made me train better, and I'm more. To be honest. Yeah, I'm very hungry. I train better. Everyone says that I train harder, I train smarter. Everyone sees that I really want it. My trainers all said, well, you have a better motivation, you train harder. So for me, it doesn't make any difference. So for me, it's to get this belt, yeah, I've been working for a long time. So I feel like I'm more hungry to win this belt than my opponent, but we have to see on 25 May.
And this is a very big card. It's a major card, Bellator 200. Of course, the number speaks for itself. It's a landmark event. What is it like to be a part of it and your involvement on the card? What does that say about what Bellator thinks about you? It must show to you that they really think highly of you.
Yeah, 100%. My goal, my job is to go and perform, and the rest is all up to Bellator to put me. They can put me on undercard. I don't care if they think I'm worthy of to headline UFC Bellator 200. Yeah, of course it means a lot. It shows that they trust in me, that they have faith in me, and like I said, I'm very happy with Bellator. So for me, it's I feel obligated to put a good performance.
Now, one thing I did find interesting, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe your fight against Carvalho will be the co-main event to Mirko Cro Cop versus Roy Nelson. Have you been told that they will fight after you?
Yeah. They haven't told me, but what I've seen on like Instagram or whatever, that I'm the co-main event. But yeah, sure, why not? Who cares?
What do you think about it? You don't care?
No, I don't care. That's the job of the promotion. If they feel like Cro Cop is the better draw as the main event, he's been fighting for a long time. So, who am I? I don't care. I'm coming to win. I'm coming to win the belt. Yeah, where I'm fighting on the card, it doesn't really matter.
Now, one thing I haven't seen from Bellator's promotion of you and this fight against Carvalho is any sort of funny videos. Because I remember a couple of years ago, you did that really great one with the UFC, Make Mousasi Laugh. I think you did another one reacting to all the names of the top 10 UFC middleweight fighters. And, you have a great personality, and I think Bellator could really take advantage. Are there any plans to make any, short videos, whether it be funny or something else, leading up to this fight, anything like that going on?
Well, the first time I fought, they really pushed me. I had a lot of interviews, and they really pushed me. I was on ESPN, all those shows. So, no, Bellator is pushing me more than enough. It's for me. Yeah, I don't know. I don't need to do those stuff. If they ask me, I do it. But if not. Yeah.
It's not at the top of your priority list, is what you're saying.
Well, they show me a lot on Spike Dutch TV, so, hopefully they come here, because I think it's Bellator's plan to have a show in Holland, and I think I will be able to headline it, and I'm more on TV on Holland, on Spike Holland, so it's a matter of time, so, yeah, we have local fighters in Holland that fight for Spike, for Bellator. So it's a matter of time before they come here.
But you can't disagree that a Make Mousasi Laugh 2.0 for Bellator wouldn't be great. It'd be fantastic.
I don't know.
Personally, I think so anyways. And I think a lot of other people would too.
Maybe I should drink and then do that.
Yes, that would be even better. Drunk Mousasi. Make Drunk Mousasi laugh.
It would make good TV.
It really would. Put that on Paramount Network, live television. You mentioned that Bellator is hoping to go to the Netherlands. Is that just something you've heard? Is that sort of what you're predicting? How, of course, you're not Scott Coker. You don't decide where they go, but is that close to being official or done, as far as you know?
It was in the planning last year. I heard, but I think so. I hope so. It's nothing. I haven't heard anything official, but I heard rumors. So yeah, probably, maybe.
How much of a dream would that be to headline Bellator's debut in the Netherlands?
That's one more thing I wanted to do before to say I fought in Holland for my own crowd. So that would be one more thing I would want to do, and it would be nice. But it's it's not like it's my dream or whatever.
Okay. It's not do or die. It's not if you don't do it, you'll regret your entire career.
Fighting is fighting. You can fight in the backyard. You can fight, other countries. Fighting is fighting. It brings different pressures. It brings different. But fighting in London, a lot of friends are coming, so it feels like fighting. But it would be nice to fight in Holland. Where I've been able to fight and train and all those stuff. So it would be nice. It would be a little bit different.
Sure. And say you beat Carvalho on May 25th. You're the Bellator middleweight champion. What would happen next? Would you want to defend the title? I know you've talked about maybe fighting Roy McDonald in a super fight. He's the Bellator welterweight champion. I'm sure would be open to moving up to 205 pounds, maybe challenging Ryan Bader. What would you want next if you were matchmaker and you could decide what would happen if you become the middleweight champion?
First, I have to fight Carvalho. But if I win, I would like to fight Rory McDonald. That was my plan. And then after that, light heavyweights. So that was my original plan. And so far, we're on schedule. Let's win this one and then go from there.
Perfect. How do you think you get the job done? And what do you make of Rafael, as an opponent? Just because I feel like you're so used to fighting top and very well-known fighters, Chris Weidman, Jacare Souza in the UFC. Now that Carvalho's a little lesser known, was it a bit more difficult to research him just because you wouldn't know as much about him? What was that like leading up to this fight?
Well, this is a tough opponent, I won't get any easy opponents when you're fighting at this level. Everyone has their specialties. Everyone is good at some area that, where they shine better than you. So Carvalho is the champion. He's a champion for a reason. But it has the potential to be a not easy victory, a fast victory, or it can be a very tough fight. You never know with those stuff with fighting. But I'm coming. I feel like what I see, what I do in the trainings, I'm dominant. Better than ever. I feel, but I'm not gonna. It's just talk unless I don't go and do it. People are gonna say he's talking, but I feel like I'm better than ever. So I feel physically and stuff. So I'm expecting to dominate, but like I said, I know it's a fight. So we go and we see how it goes.
And as far as a prediction goes, I know just based off what you just said, I'm sure you don't know exactly how you'll win, but can you sort of get close? Do you think a knockout? What is your prediction for the fight?
Well, I trained on everything. I trained to take him down. I trained to stand. I trained on the kicks, because he's a southpaw. I trained on my ground and pound. I trained on everything, to be honest. So I have trained on couple submission. I haven't trained 100 submission. There's 2-3 submission I've worked on. I feel like if I can get him there, I can tap him. I worked a lot on my ground and pound. I worked a lot on my stand-up. So I worked on wherever the fight goes. There's something that I really worked on to able to finish the fight. To be honest, so yeah, I don't know. He's a big guy. He's a strong guy, and so you have to see. I have to put the pressure on him. You know, I don't know. Whatever the fight goes, I feel like I should be able to get the advantage.
Fair enough. Well, Gegard, thank you so much for taking the time. Just a little under 2 weeks out from the fight. Bellator 200, London, England, May 25th. You're taking on the middleweight champion, Rafael Carvalho. Thank you again. Before I let you go, if people aren't already following you on social media, let them know where they can do that. And if you have any thank yous, would like to thank family, your training partners, sponsors, anything else, the floor is yours.
I don't know. They can follow me on Instagram. The rest, I don't know. And it's a blue something. Then you know it's me. Blue emoji or something.
The blue check mark. I think it's at Gegard Mousasi, but
yeah. And then whatever. Fans, I want to thank everyone for if they tune in or they come to watch the fight. I know I want to thank my friends, training partners, but they know it, they know, I appreciate their support. They're coming to watch the fight. They're taking their time off. So are the people that's going to come to the show. They're making time. They're spending their money to come to watch the fight. So, hopefully it's going to be a good show. I'm going to do my best.